Classes in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, May 1st. It is FOMC day. We got a great show lined up for you today. Everybody's watching the charts. It's bleeding off, and it is bad. It is ugly. But if you had been with us all week long, you would know this was coming. We talked about 56K. We hit critical support levels. We're going to be talking about those. And do we have further downside to go? Standard Charter saying $50,000 Bitcoin is in play. Currently, right now, sitting at about 57K, a little bit over that. Fear and greed at 54. We got all that and a whole lot more. We're going to be breaking down a lot, and we're going to be looking at what to expect today from Jerome Powell. All that and more today on Piper Academy. Guys, let's get it. Classes in session. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Piper Academy. I'm Army Piper. We come at you every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys all the news and data and charts that you could possibly need to get some knowledge, because we believe knowledge is profit. Thanks for joining us today. If you guys are new here, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and let us know you enjoyed this content. But let's go ahead and bring on my co-host. We got a lot to unravel today. TradeFly, OC guy, what is up? Guys, it's the markets. The markets are so bloody today. I wore my red shirt and everything. It is Red Shirt Wednesday. What's going on with you guys?
Let there be blood. Yeah, man. But yeah, like you said, we've kind of been expecting this. There was a lot of downside pressure, so not really surprised. But again, don't worry too much. We haven't done anything more than set a higher low. And to be perfectly frank with you, we could have a little bit more downside and still be okay and have some bullish structure. So don't freak out. This is crypto. If you're new here, welcome. This happens. If ETFs are what brought you to the party, welcome. You're going to have an iron stomach to play this game. So other than that, let's go ahead and we'll start looking at the charts in a bit here, and we'll show you maybe some hopium.
OC, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
I thought TradeFly was going to do something like, I like blood or something. I wasn't expecting that. I know.
No, he likes gold. He likes gold.
Yeah, he likes gold. But I mean, nothing other than, just like TradeFly mentioned, a little bit of hopium. My bearish target was almost hit within a couple of $100. So basically right there. Going to the bottom of the channel that chart promised plot on the 4 hour. But still, we do have a couple of reversal signals. We need to confirm those reversals before we start planning for either keep going up or visiting lower targets. Remember that we still have a DCA target at 52, or I do have a DCA target at 52,800, somewhere around that area, and another one going to 4950K to jump in. So hopefully, maybe if you guys are prepared, if you're not, well, there you go, a little nugget just in case we hit that area.
Absolutely. By the way, Jay said you need an iron stomach to eat that cinnamon butter. So there you go, TradeFly. Guys, we're going to be looking at all this data today. FOMC, if you guys don't know, it's FOMC day. Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve are going to release their call on the interest rates, the federal interest rates today. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be a pause, but what everyone is worried about is we've had PCE, CPI, all this inflation data has come in higher over the past 2 months. We've had 2 consecutive months of increased data of rising inflation, and because of that, he can very easily be very, very hawkish today. He could pivot to that hawkish mode, and that hawkish mode could absolutely just wreck the markets even more. So that's why everybody's all risk off. We've had a lot of bad data. They've got to make some hard decisions. Those hard decisions have a cause and effect on the markets and investment pools. And This is what we're seeing. This is how it plays out. But I will tell you, I will take Bitcoin's 8% drop overnight versus the 13% drop on Starbucks yesterday on their earnings report. Starbucks is not doing well. But you know what is well? My cup of coffee that is cheap, delicious, and high quality from Legendary Aviation Coffee, guys. Go ahead, check out the link. You guys can get yours too. So if you're one of those people that cut Starbucks out because that money can be going into Bitcoin, check out Legendary Aviation Coffee. That is delicious. So let's get into the news today, guys, and let's take a look at what we're seeing here. We do have that fear and greed index coming in neutral. We talked about this yesterday. I said it's very likely that by tomorrow we'll be in the neutral range if everything goes the way I think it's going to. And here we are, 54. We're sitting in neutral right now, currently on the fear and greed index. Take a look at the crypto bubbles here for the day, guys. We are sitting with a lot of red. There is some green on there, things like OP and Atom and Dot. But we got things like Arweave and Stacks, which we just talked about this week from that Forbes article. Could this be an effect from that Forbes FUD that came out about Arweave and Stacks on that list of 20 other tokens that are just zombie blockchains, they called it. So let's go down here and take a look and see what we have going on. Bitcoin for the day down about 6%, Ethereum down about 4%. Ethereum holding a little bit better in the past week, daily and hourly, than what Bitcoin is doing there. BNB sitting there right around 3.1%. I lost my mouse. Give me 1 second. And we will get this moving on down. There we go. Solana sitting there down about 4.3% on the daily. XRP down about 0.3%. Doge is down 7.2 and Toncoin down 8.3. Big dumps there. Let's see who's actually moved though here. Let's see. Polygon is up 1 position there to number 17. Near Protocol losing that position down to number 18. Internet Computer, ICP, up 1 slot there, taking that Litecoin position. Any big movers on here? It looks like Cosmos Atom up 3 positions on the total market cap, and Stacks dropping by 4. Optimism up 7 positions here also. So some big movers overnight, shuffling around on who's the top dog for each position there. Let's jump into these liquidations and see what we're looking at on liquidations right now. In the past 24 hours, 106,000 traders liquidated. Total liquidations came in at $394 million. Largest single liquidation happened on OKX. It was Ethereum again. It was $6 million, but you guys can see right there getting a lot of those liquidations. It's the longs. I mean, the 318 million worth of them. This is probably people that got washed out here very recently because they. Hey, I'm going to shorten. Then it's hit some key support. We're going to be showing you that support and where it needs to hold at. Jump over to the economic calendar here. You guys can see we did already get some data in today. It's going to be the ADP employment change. And if we jump in here and see what that is, this is private businesses and their employment in the United States. Can we get that in focus? There we go. Thanks. Private business in the U.S. added 192,000 workers to their payrolls in April of this year, last month, exceeding the market expectation. It was actually consensus and forecasted to be 175,000 jobs. It actually came in at 192, and following a previous gain of 208,000, it was a good sign there a little bit. Hiring was broad-based with the service sector providing sector adding jobs, 145,000 jobs led by leisure and hospitality for 56,000, trade and transportation at 26,000, education and health services 26,000 jobs, professional and business services 22,000 jobs, and financial activities 16,000 jobs. Additionally, the goods producing sector added 47,000 jobs, with 35,000 of those being in construction and manufacturing, hitting 9,000 of those, and natural resources and mining hitting 3,000. So that's better than expected job postings today. If we jump back here and take a look, you can see the consensus was 175, forecasted to be 162, beating that by quite a bit there at 192,000 jobs. The big one today, guys, that we're going to be watching here in about 20 minutes, we're going to be getting JOLTS job openings. This is going to be the job openings. You can see right now, 8.7 million is what they're looking at previously. For last time that we did this last March, consensus is that it's going to be down a little bit, about 8.69, 8.7 for forecast and consensus. What are you doing? Don't do that to me. Go back. All right, jumping back here, we got this JOLTS job openings. So if we take a look here, the number of job openings went up 8,000. This is what happened last month. But a lot of those jobs last time, guys, were in finance and insurance. We're going to be looking to see today where that sector is that's doing all that hiring. But right now, it does look like we're going to be getting that here in about 20 minutes, like I said. And then the big one today, the massive one, is this federal interest rate decision. This is going to be coming in at 2 p.m. I know it says 12 on mine. I'm in the Mountain Standard Time. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you will get those numbers. And then right after that, about 30 minutes later, we're going to be getting the Fed press conference. That's when Jerome Powell is going to come out and start speaking. I do suspect to see that we do get a pause, just like consensus and forecast is hitting here, 5.5%. But I think that we're going to hear some hawkish sentiment coming out of Jerome Powell today, and that could be more downside for the markets. What I want to show you guys is real fast on here before we get over and we start talking about this and get into the charts and stuff. This is the CME call for rate hikes, rate cuts, rate pauses. Right now, you can see May 1st here, 2024. That is where we are today. That is the meeting today. 99% chance right now of a pause. You can see no change, 99%. Guys, we're starting to see rate hikes on almost every single month. It's a small percentage. The likelihood is around 1% in general. But you can see we had this at 0 for a very long time. We are now starting to see the CME group put a likelihood, even though it's small, a likelihood of rate hikes coming this year. And I've been talking about that possibility for about a month, especially over with Keeper on crypto wars. So we talked about it over there, and it's very likely that that we see this sentiment continue on, but I'm not sure if we're going to see that or not. According to Kabisi letter, there is one rate hike baked into the news right now for market and investor sentiment. So let's jump back over here, guys. That's what I got for the news today. We got some other articles we're going to break out here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and jump into the charts. See what we're seeing here on Bitcoin, because we've been talking about 56K for a hot minute on this show, and I want to show you guys where we are and where we came down to overnight. Let's jump into this chart and get this going for us. Taking a look here, we lost our channel. So this channel now out of play. I am going to leave it up because we could very easily see this come up and do a retest of that breakout. A lot of times that happens. Matter of fact, you should always trade the retest, not the breakout. So, but if we look at where we got our support here, it was almost down to this this golden pocket here. That's coming in at about 56,300. But if we stretch this out, you'll see this didn't really ever touch the golden pocket bottom. It only touched the bottom of the chart prime dynamic reactor. That is where we got the support. It did do a pull up to the top of this earlier, and now it is coming back down. You see that candle body getting a little bit below the top of that dynamic reactor line. But yeah, shout out to chart prime developers. They've got some good stuff there. I'm looking at a daily chart right now, just so you know. The last times that we've touched this, we've had really strong bounces, and so that was in that range. But I do want to show you guys on the Wallen chart. Shout out to Eric Wallen. This chart will forever be nicknamed after him because he gives me so much crap about my favorite chart. Shout out to you, man. We did come down here and we almost touched. This is where I've been saying $56,000 was very likely to be hit, because you lost the golden pocket on the Fibonacci channels, and then we started to come down. For those that have never joined us here before, this is your first time watching, and you're going, what chart is this? Guys, this is a Fibonacci channel with horizontal fibs running from tops to bottoms of every cycle throughout the entire history of Bitcoin. And it has played beautifully this cycle of not breaking that blue 786 there. And then also, once we got up into that golden pocket, I was feeling really good as long as we were in there. But I said, if we close out of this golden pocket on a weekly candle, we would very likely come back to retest that 887 there on the platinum pocket before we get another bounce to the upside. We're almost there. I still think we are going to hit directly onto this platinum pocket. But right now, that dynamic reactor that we showed over here in the golden pocket of the daily is holding pretty decent for us. Take a look at the oscillators. You can see that we still do have a nice fat widening of the oscillator ribbon here, indicating more downside coming. And you can see, despite being below the 30% here on the daily, that RSI prime still has a nice big fat long Heikin-Ashi candle. We can still go quite a bit lower, guys. We are not at the bottom yet. You can see how, in comparison to that previous section back there, we still have some more downside to go on the RSI prime and on the Oscillator Pro. I am going to be watching closely for this white line, and this is what I'm pointing at on the thumbnail today. This is coming in at $52,000. If we do not hold in this golden pocket and we lose that dynamic reactor on the daily, I'm looking at this cluster back here to be where we find that support coming in again, about 52K. And if we bring in what I had here on a fixed range volume profile, you will see that we have lost that value area low. The next level that we have here for support, and that you can see there's a volume node here, but that next one, that major one coming in right there at 52K also on that fixed range volume. So TradeFly, let's kick it over to you, see what you got on that heat map, and we'll go from there. But right now, guys, 56K called in play here on the show. We hit right there around that 56.5 range. I'm watching 52K next, and we got an article that could be going down as low as 50K, so stick around.
All right. Yeah, so my man got going, and he was not coming back. So let's go on over to the chat. Alexander G gifted 5 Piper Academy memberships. Thank you very, very much. She is the best mod in the house. Let's see who got them. Average Crypto Joe, Magnum DeFi, David Brumbelow, a mellow fellow in Chicago Brew. But to follow it up, not to be outdone, we got Crypto Pollo donating another 5 memberships. So
I totally missed
Pollo
that.
was gifted a membership by Crypto Pollo. I haven't seen that one yet. All right. Ansel, Mad Fad Baby, Lloyd, Roger Spencer, and Angie Dostal, all gifted memberships. Congratulations. Get over to the Discord and utilize those. All right. Hey, so
shut out.
Thank you, guys.
I'm glad you got that. Thank you for catching that, TradeFly, because I totally missed that. I appreciate that.
You got going, man. I
was on a roll, man.
yeah, you were. But hey, seriously, you just want to say thank you. You guys are the best, and especially Alexander G, Crypto Pollo. You guys are here all the time, so we truly, truly appreciate that. And yeah, let's get back to it. But thank you.
And hey, while you're breaking this down real fast, while you're breaking down the heat map, guys in the chat right now, let us know what you would like to see for tokens for some TA today. So what crypto, what assets, and then also TradeFly and OC, we need to decide what giveaway we're doing this week, because Friday is the first Friday of the month, and we got another giveaway coming up. I think we're going to do two $50 giveaways this month and a Chart Prime monthly. So might do 3 giveaways. So, and now all these new members will all have a spot in that giveaway because it is for our members. So, TradeFly, we need to figure that out. We'll talk about it. No C. What you got on the heat map, though, man? Bring the fire. Bring the heat.
We got some plans for you guys. All right. Got on the monthly. Not a whole lot to write home about. All the liquidity sitting at the top side, people that went short, and that's playing out well for them right now. So if they stay in the trade, good for them. But let's go to the 3-month. All right. This is the one I feel like we've been talking about for months at this point. And you can see, like, there's not a lot going on. You got some freedom of movement here in terms of price action. I mean, it's dark AF, right? But down here is the area that we've been talking about for quite some time. And that one's going to start somewhere about 50,575. All right. That's where a ton of liquidity is sitting. And we're headed in that direction, and we're not far off, right? We're at 57.5 right now. So this is not outside the realm of possible. You guys know I've been talking about this area for a really long time, because why not come down here, clear that liquidity out, set a higher low, and then look for that continuation, right? So I'm not going to say everyone's happy at that point, but kind of everyone's happy at that point, right? We'll get that continued upside once we get that bounce from that area, and then the maker gets his, he clears out the liquidity, so some people, unfortunately, are not going to be so happy. But that's I don't know. Like I'm leaning that way. And the reason I'm leaning that way is like our title says right now, we're at a critical area. We truly, truly are, right? So we have this little bit of support that's holding us up here at about 56. But when you're on the daily, you don't even see the range that's actually developed there at 56K. I don't think there's a lot of volume there. Okay. Matter of fact, I know there's not a lot of volume there because I can see it. Let's go ahead and bring up the dynamic support and resistance zones. All right, my chemtrails, you guys know I love these things. But the reason I love these things is not just because it makes it easier to find support and resistance levels, because the volume is attached to those levels. All right. And this is what I'm scared of. And this is why when I look at the title, I'm like, this is not clickbait. This is a critical area. Look at this. There's only a little bit of volume associated. And then we have a gap. All right. So if we lose this level, you're going to see a pretty quick move down. I can almost guarantee you it's a trend that I've been seeing. When we lose these areas and then we have these gaps in volumes, it moves quick. So I think you're going to come down here. You're probably going to see some price action where we saw previous resistance. So this is why I have this green line right here. And that is about 52.6. And then down at the bottom here is about 50,665, right? So now we're talking about that area of liquidity. So what's going to happen here? I think what's going to happen, because we need to clear that liquidity out, is that's not the bottom. All right. That's not where you'll actually see the bottom. I think it'll move down to where you see more volume here. And unfortunately, I think you're going to see at least a wick down to retest this area of resistance, turn that into support, set that higher low. And it also is the 2022 high. All right. So this is something I picked up from Magic Internet Money. He always goes back and he marks all the highs, all right, from previous years. And so that's something I'm trying to incorporate into mine. And it would make sense to come down and actually retest this area and find some support there at about 48,355. Now that's I'm not saying that's in the near future, but it is definitely areas to keep an eye on, kind of for some long-term planning. If you guys are looking to add to your bags and you thought you were upset, you thought you missed the boat. Well, you may not have, all right, because this could be a good opportunity to enter into some long positions, because we already know price has been there. So if we measure it out here, let's measure from here to the top. That's a 52% move. Ain't no one going to be mad about that if we go back up and retest our all-time high. So I'm not going to say it's hopium because it's more downside, but at the same time, there's a little bit of hopium on the backside of all that.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I do want to point something out here real fast before we jump over to OC's chart. Taking a look here on the news, guys. This is from Coinbase. They put this out yesterday, last night, overnight in the evening. It says there have been 5 Bitcoin bull markets. In an average bull market, you will have to survive the following to ride it to the top. 5 to 10% drawdowns, 3 10 to 20% drawdowns, 2 20 to 30% drawdowns, 1 30 to 40% drawdown, and 1 40 to 70% drawdown. That 1 40 to 70%, that was the top to bottom drop that we had of the bear market. We've already done that. 30 to 40%, we had one of those also in there. Guys, we have not had the 20 to 30% drawdowns. We had that one in January that pulled down 21%, but we haven't hit that 30% range. We're still not there yet. That's why I said we still have some more drawdown. We'll take a look at what 30% from the top looks like here in just a second. Let's go ahead and jump over back to OC and let's see what you got on the chart, bro.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, basically, I was looking at that area because we were talking about that, but let me just remove it because you're gonna be, like mentioning. So something that I want to point out at this area, it is that we are breaking some key support, but also we have a failing wedge in here, part of our Market Dynamics Pro wedges, triangles. Out of the detection system here, so as you can see, so we're not only at the base of that wedge, we also are at the base of the dynamic reactor on daily, right? And also something important that I'm noticing, it is that we have a reversal right down here. Let me just start cleaning up a little bit on this oscillator stuff, because seems like it did not got cleaned up by itself. There we go. And let's see how frequent and what have happened once we had those a reversal. So remember, not because we have a reversal means that we're going to be flipping right away, but seems like we are losing that bearish momentum, at least for now, right? So as you can see, we had one in here. What happened? We had that pullback to the upside. Let's look for the next one. We had one other down here. Let's see what happened there. We have another pull up for that reversal. And finally, let's just look at one more just in case we have a different result, which we could, right? I mean, let's just go farther back. And in here, well, what we did, we just ranged it a little bit and made that. Let me just wait for it to load. Come on, trading view, whenever you're ready.
Sometime today. I need like the Jeopardy theme song,
Yeah.
like
It's also hangover. Trading view is also hangover. All right,
it had
not
too
that
much
I am.
cerveza in Mexico with OC last night.
Oh,
Never go drinking with
I had
OC.
too
I'm just
much
saying.
chicken wings. Absolutely. Oh, look at that. There you go. It's working. You have a pretty nice pull back to the upside. By the way, guys, whenever you're eating some chicken wings, just thinking something. How many chickens they had to be mutilated for you to eat? I don't know, eat 10 chicken wings, and do they become chicken nuggets when they don't have any more wings? Just a thought, food for thought. But other than that, looking for those couple
Inside
of
the mind of
reversals.
OC guy.
Absolutely. Yesterday I was talking to MJ like that, and she said, "Hey, you just ruined the chicken wings for me." And yeah, I just wanted to ruin them for you guys. So other than that, turning it back to you guys, I mean, just a quick overview that we could be having a possible reversal. Don't think that we're gonna be having a huge change of direction, which it still could be doing because it is not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go to this area. And I think, and I'm gonna be calling about 53K areas for what's coming on a 30% retracement that Piper is going to be talking about. So turning it back to you guys.
Yeah, jumping over here in my chart, I got that 30%, guys. 29.6% comes down to that $52,000 range that I was talking about. That's the white line on there, which is this previous cluster back here. I would say that that is likely where we're going to be seeing this pull back to. But before we go any further into alts, I do have the list of alts dropped in the Discord for you guys there. Let's go ahead and jump in to this article that I've got. News, can we get over there? Thank you much. Appreciate it. So we do have this article here from Standard Charter. This is the people that we just talked about earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week, that we're talking about 175, 150,000, 225,000. Like, they threw all these numbers out of where they see Bitcoin at in that range for 2025. They are now saying Bitcoin could fall further to $50,000. That is coming in $2,000 below that level that I'm looking at. That would be a liquidity grab. I guess it could go down to that level on 50K, and we'll look and see what's down there real fast in a second. But I do want to go ahead and bring this into play here, show you guys what they're talking about there. As Bitcoin price dipped below the $60,000 mark and is currently hovering around 57K, it could fall further to around 50K, according to Standard Chartered Bank. Bitcoin's price falls below 60,000, could be the start of further pain to come, according to them. Bitcoin's proper break below 60K has now reopened a route to the 50 to 52K range. Look, there it is. I'm telling you guys, this is the levels you need to be watching. The driver seems to be a combination of crypto-specific and broader macro. Crypto-specific concerns include the 5 consecutive days of outflows from the ETF. They are just bleeding out. And then the ETF and the poor response to the recent launch of spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs in Hong Kong. That did not go well at all. Matter of fact, it reinforced what I've said inside of our Discord community conversations, the AMAs, that China is weak, super weak. Their currency is weak. Their markets are weak. They are in trouble right now, and they are doing everything they can to give the image that they are staying afloat. China, not a concern for the United States when it comes to financial and currency strength. So with consecutive outflows from U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs and currently the average ETF purchase price being below that 58,000, there's a risk of liquidation. More than half of the spot ETF positions are underwater, and so the risk of liquidation of some of them must be considered as well. Regarding that Hong Kong ETF, the volume was low, which has contributed to the recent Bitcoin price fall also. And then, of course, liquidity matters when it comes, when it's with the backdrop of strong U.S. inflation data, which we just talked about. That's the FOMC stuff today. And the likelihood of Fed rate cuts getting lower and lower. We're actually starting to see Fed rate hikes coming into play. It matters at the moment. Re-enter Bitcoin in the $50,000 to $52,000 range. Or if US CPI on the 15th is friendly, we could see a reversal to the upside. But they do maintain their price. Here's your hopium. Well, here's your hopium, the truth I talked about. Last month, Standard Chartered raised its 2024 end Bitcoin price prediction to $150,000. That's at the end of this year, 2024. And its previous estimate of from its previous estimate of 100,000, and they talked about $250,000 at some point in 2025 if strong inflows to spot Bitcoin ETFs continue, and or if Forex reserve managers start buying Bitcoin this year, the bank said at the time. So a little bit of hopium. They still stand by that. But right now, it does look like they're saying 50 to 52K coming into play. Let's go ahead and see what's down at 50K just to see here, guys. $50,000 would be just sitting above this 0.5 here. That would be the halfway mark. We've had previous rejection. Nice retest there and up it went. If we came back to get that, I always talk about on fibs, that 50% line is vitally important. It's crucial. If we get a bounce off of that coming down from the top, that is bullish. If we get a rejection off of that or we break that, it is bearish. So that $50,000 range coming in somewhere right above that 50%. Let's look at the Wallen chart and see what we're seeing over here for $50,000 range. $50,000 range would be inside of the platinum pocket, which is a key place to hold as support also. So yeah, I see that 50 to 52, but I still think $52,000 a little bit more important and a little bit stronger than that $50,000 range. Let's go ahead and jump over, check out TradeFly's charts, and we will, well, actually, let's come over to Trio Cam, talk about that article. Guys, what do you think? Do you think they are overly bullish on still holding to that $250,000 next year, $150,000 by this year? Or do you think that they're maybe not bearish enough with their $50,000 call? I'd like to hear your input, TradeFly. Then we'll go to OC, and then we'll start those altcoins.
Yeah, them crazies must have been watching that prediction video because they OC must have just wooed them with all his engineer speak and was like, oh, this guy is just wicked smart. It's surely going to $500,000. Yeah, I don't think so. Personally, I'm still standing by. I think anywhere from 88 to maybe 100K, I'll give you that. But I think, I'm a simple man's TA, brother. I'm just going to take the previous all-time highs. I'm going to draw my little line, and that gives me about 88K in 2024, and somewhere in about 100 2025 is within reason. But I already gave you my reason of, hey, I think we can push up, but we got to have some pullbacks. I don't know that we're going to still break 88 or anywhere in that range, even in 2025. So, that's kind of my logic there.
Super
and we're seeing it. We're seeing it, right? We got up to 73. We set a new all-time high. What are we having? We're having a little pullback. It comes in waves. Lunar beaches, crypto, baby. That's the way we roll. So, that's my 2 cents.
And we appreciate that. OC, your thoughts on that, bro?
Oh, I think they're right on the money. That's it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Guys, I mean, I know my prediction is $500,000. That comes from a little bit of, over engineering mathematics and geometry. But as I said at the end of the video, right, it's just a calculation. Nobody knows where the top of the cycle is going to be. Just move in with caution. And I think since we've been seeing this article just jumping back and forth through high and low areas right there. There you go. I mean, we always need to move with caution, right? Remember also what I said on that video, that I will be quick to change my position and thinking when my immediate right away TA start telling me to do so, right? So just keep moving your stop loss to entry, or take a little bit of gains on major numerical values. I would also, not financial advice, but look at 100K, 80K for maybe start taking a little bit or paying yourself a little bit just in case, right? Always be on the safe side of trading. So other than that, turning it back to you guys.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump over to TradeFly, see what he's got there off of these alts, and let's start getting into some altcoin TA. Show these people what levels they need to be watching for. If we're looking at the downside movement there of Bitcoin, then we have to assume that the alts are going to bleed off even more. So let's see what you got, TradeFly.
You know, it's funny you say that. I mean, if Bitcoin moves back, but relatively speaking, with this pullback of Bitcoin, I say it's been pretty harsh to Bitcoin, more so than the alts. The alts, some of them have dumped a little hard, but a lot of them haven't. Like if you look at things like Matic, AVEX, over the past 24 hours, they kind of status quo. And I think a little bit had to do with that. We talked about it last week, is we saw a little bit of a shift in Bitcoin dominance. And when you see that shift in Bitcoin dominance, sometimes that can be a good thing for the alts, right? Because that means that they may not get hit as hard. And so it seems to be playing out just a bit for some of the larger cap coins, at least. But let's go ahead and look at Matic. Overall, not good, to be honest with you. So what you would like to see here is this to have held up, all right? And that is going, I think that's a horizontal line. Let me actually get you a trend here. Here, you wanted that to hold up. That's why you got this big breakdown, because it didn't hold up. Gave you that retest. You like to see the trajectory continue up and right. It didn't, and then you just get a massive dump off. I mean, it fell right through the golden pocket, and it came all the way down to the platinum pocket, right? That's not always a great thing. I know that Piper is big on the platinum pocket, and you can see it did hold up as support. So hopefully we get a recovery with the rest of the crypto market. This is going to be very contingent on the market, I'll say. If Bitcoin continues to fall, we're going to test this bottom side here, the platinum pocket here. We've already gotten a wick down there. So some people are of the mindset that price action will follow the wicks. And that could, for me personally, when I look at a wick, I say that tells you whether there's buying or selling pressure in that area, because people had long positions, in this case, already set, I would assume, at an area that they identified as support right here and resistance, right? So they just drew a horizontal line and they say, hey, where's resistance? Where's support? Cool, I'm going to set a long entry right here. So you'll see that big jump, and that's why you get those longer wicks. That's why I think, at least. All right, that's my own little thought there. But overall, the chart is obviously bearish AF, man. You got the volume area low right here. That's acting as resistance right now. And then again, you can see the trend down and right. And so now we're just hoping that the market recovers. So if the overall market recovers, then obviously we're going to come back up. We're going to retest this volume area low. So let me give you some price points here. High side is 73 cents. Then you got to work through the golden pocket. That's at 77 cents, 80 cents. That's the range there on that. But I think first stop, if we're going to talk near term, if the market turns in a positive direction, you're looking at 75 cents. If the market continues down and right, then we're looking at 58, 59 cents for Matic right now. So the only thing that you kind of got to hang on, if you're looking down at the RSI or the prime oscillator, is you are seeing an up and right trend, right? So you're seeing multiple retests of a horizontal level of support. You do see a trend of building strength. You can see that going up and right, at least on the prime oscillator. So you could get a bounce, especially if the market consolidates here and stays in a range, which is a possibility, because we've talked about that 56K region for Bitcoin. That's where that's sitting at. So you could see a move up and right. That's very much in play. However, I think for the short term, for today, FOMC, people are a little bit nervous. I don't expect a major movement until Powell talks. And then it's going to be volatile. So be careful today. We are at an area of support, and I've given you your high and kind of your low areas. I will also say that the trend, if you zoom out a little bit, is pretty bearish in my eyes. But there is a little bit of hope that it could push up at least to retest this volume area low.
Awesome. OC, what do you got for us, brother?
I have Velo, but before we jump into Velo, let me just show my entry points on Bitcoin and also talk of my FOMO money. So basically, if we go back a topic here, we could be seeing a retracement on altcoins. And remember what I showed you guys on the oscillator before, that we have a possible reversal play, maybe on the edge of playing out, right? So this was going to be giving a couple of altcoins the possibility to start bouncing. This is the reversal I was talking about. In between those altcoins, I am looking at Velo. So why am I looking at Velo? Look at how strong it's been holding. I mean, we just barely breaking the previous range that we were talking about. Yes, it's respecting this downtrend, but again, still holding strong above the dynamic reactor. And this is the 4-hour. Let's just take a look at the daily, because daily, oh my God, look at the movements of daily on Velo. Yes, it's breaking the trend line here. And let me just clean this up. All right. It's kind of like I'm breaking the trend line, but at the same time, it's making a bull flag. All right. So it is not all said and done, but also look at my oscillator right now. What I'm interested in seeing here, it is the action and reaction of the money flow. They both are green. All right. Nonetheless, the classical money flow, which is this downward, this brighter green right down here, it is starting to curve down, which so far is not that bad as long as we stay above the zero lining here. But I want to see when it start flipping back up, and both of our money flow indexes are pointing the same area, so or the same direction, that being upwards. All right, and also holding maybe the 4-hour dynamic reactor, that could be meaning a very explosive movement. All right, in the 4-hour money flow, it is going down, but also look at this carefully. Let me just clean this up for a little second, and also let me make it bigger so we can look at it better. Here we go. And the money flow, I know it's a little bit hard to tell, but it's starting to flip around. So if we can make it flip around, this other one also flip around, we could be taking that Bitcoin bounce to the upside to maybe get back into the ranging here and aim for a movement of 0.22. That could give us a positioning or a target of around 25% no leverage. I'd rather
Nice.
jump
There's
in
your
and
trade
add a
setup of
little
the
bit
day.
more support. There we go. But keep moving. I mean, moving this one with caution, because if Bitcoin drops hard, there's nothing stopping Velo to following. So just that.
Correct.
Turning it back to
All
you.
right. I'm going to jump over here, taking a look at AMD. We had a request for AMD here in the chat. You guys can see here, I went ahead and pulled some fibs from the low to the high here. Taking a look at those two ranges, we can see, and this is what I just talked about earlier, when we get that breakthrough, you can see here the 50% was a support level. Then we punched through it. We came down. We touched on the golden pocket on the 618, and then we got that rejection, meaning further downside to come. That is a perfect example of that 50% rejection line on the fibs. Right now, we are trying to hold support on this golden pocket, but if they pull down, guys, and we do not hold a level here of $138.74, it is very likely that we are heading down to the platinum pocket. That would be the 786 coming in at about $121, $122 there. Let's look at the oscillators real fast just to see what we're seeing here. We are seeing a little bit of hopium with this uptrend green arrow here, but that could be very short-lived, guys. We've seen one here on the 4-hour that gave us a little pump up, rejection off that dynamic reactor, and then downside. We could get that here where this comes back up and rejects on the 50 again for more downside. But because I'm seeing the RSI prime looking so strong on the downside movement there, and we're not really getting anything indicating that there's an end to this ribbon rundown that we have here on the Oscillator Pro, I would be prone to think that we are likely going to be heading down to $121 on AMD. That's the TA for that today. Let's jump over to TradeFly. I think you got some Polkadot up.
I do. Just kind of working it in the background here. Go back to the traditional candles. All right, so this structure looks very similar to Matic, to be honest with you. The only difference that I see here is it's really trying to hold the golden pocket. But look, I mean, it kind of had the same thing, trending up and right, big breakdown off of almost the same trend line, right? And you see the dynamic reactor was in there as well, trying to act as support. So, I I mean, that just shows you the power of the dynamic reactor. You see that breakdown. That's one of the big things I look for all the time. It actually came back up, and this is on the daily too, so it's a little bit more of a zoomed out time frame. Came back up and actually retested the dynamic reactor. So not only did it try to hold its support, but then it acted as resistance. So don't be scared to use that, right? Where did Bitcoin just bounce? Right off the dynamic reactor on the daily. So always keep that in your scan. It's amazing how well that thing works sometimes. But now we're trying to hold this area, and it's pretty key. But the problem is we're on the bottom side of the 200. We're on the bottom side of all the moving averages. You guys know how I feel about that. That just acts as resistance for me. All right. So my bias, looking at the chart would still kind of be to the downside with everything being on top of the price action. Again, same thing. Not silver lining, but hopium, I guess we'll say. You had oversold, and now you're seeing RSI or the prime oscillator trend up and right. One thing I didn't really catch on Matic, though, that I'll have to go back and look at is look at the consolidation score here for Polkadot. That's a 9. So that's extremely high. And what that to me indicates is that you have a big, I'll say, a likelihood of finding a range, right? Because consolidation, you'll end up finding a range. It kind of beats around, in an area for a little bit before it makes its move. But everything else is terrible, right? Prime score is 1. It's prophecy saying market dump. Everything would really indicate that is a very bearish trend. And it is, because it's a series of lower highs and lower lows. And you can see the low here. It didn't actually close under that, though. So I guess there's a little hopium there that this area holds up as well. It does, like I said, it's really trying hard. But let's go ahead and give you some target levels. All right, right here currently at 6.5. You can see the wicks coming off of this area here, this green line, at about 5.9. I think if we pull back a little bit, it looks like Polkadot is acting a little bit stronger than everyone else right now. Look at this. It's green. It's one of the few that's green. So I don't know that the pullback will be as harsh for Polkadot if we do continue to pull back a little bit. I think 5.9 is in play, looking for a bounce there in that area. However, if the market does turn to the upside, then we got to break through this golden pocket area, which I think it could do. It's just you're going to struggle with the 200. I think the 200 is going to be, now that I'm looking at it, it's really the 20 that's providing all the resistance right here. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the 20. So that's going to be tough, man. So you might see a pretty good movement if it does break that, because it's been acting as resistance. It'll probably act like a breakout a little bit, and you might see a pretty sharp move up to about where the 200 is, which is going to be at about 7.1. So I would say if I was a betting man, which this is all contingent on the market, if this was alone, Polkadot by itself, I would actually have a bias more to the upside than I would to the downside. We've had multiple retests of the 20. And it's acting stronger right now than everything else. So I think that you could see some upside momentum. So if you see consolidation or a range with Bitcoin, I think the bias is to the upside for me for Polkadot specifically. But if the market pulls back, here's your target area at about 5.9. So that's what I'm looking at for Polkadot.
Awesome. OC, do you have Litecoin up?
No, but let me bring it up very quick. So let's do it.
All right. We had a request for Litecoin. It was in the Discord there. So
sorry, my brain is just not functioning as correct.
All right,
only
man.
neurons that I'm working.
Masa Vesa. Let's go.
Oh my god. Yeah, so much needed. But I mean, it had to do Tuesday, right? Because that is what is it? Get one, pay one, drink two kind of thing. All right, so not looking that
buy
good.
Buy one, get one, friend.
So far.
Buy one, get one. There it is.
Nice.
OC went YOLO on the BOGO.
Oh shit, at least 2 liters. Oh my god. All right, let's take a look at here. So, and I'm not a drinking man, just so you guys know. So that's quite bit for me. All right, so
this is all making sense. I'm sorry to break it up. OC shows up. He's like, hey, it's amazing. I don't have a hangover. OC, I think that's because you're still drunk, dude. Like, you haven't had your hangover yet. That is still to come. Wait.
Oh shit! I choked my coffee I choke my coffee today in the morning. My God,
Hey,
I
if I'm
think
gonna
that's
do some
also
tea
part of it.
on OC right now, his bias is to the downside. That man's going down right now,
Oh my God. Oh, I can't. We have the TA talk with Mr. Otter, a little bit. Hopefully the hangover is it's not kicking in at that point. All right. So not looking that good on Litecoin. Basically, nothing is looking that good, but I am looking also at a possible reversal, not only because Bitcoin is going at the bottom of the channel, but also because we can see a couple of reversals happening right down here. There is something that I was looking at Solana in here. No, not Solana. Come on. It was on CRV. And I want to compare this so I can give you an example. On CRV, look at what happened here. We had a double bottom cluster. That cluster talks about the oscillator. And look at what had happened when we have a double bottom cluster. A double bottom cluster, usually we have that pullback that we are expecting where to the dynamic reactor, right? On Litecoin, the dynamic reactor is still fairly far away, right? So, and also we are on a support area. Previous low, so big support area right down here. Let me see if trading view is still not hangover or drunk. Here we go, a little bit maybe. And all right, where are my support and resistances? Come on, they're just still loading right here. So let's just wait for a little bit. Nonetheless, I can see a big support right here. There we go, finally. And we had it right down there. So what's happening? Look at the volume, look at the reactions that we have there. And not only that, what, guys, does this mean? So low volume, green numbers, and big previous reaction. That usually it's an indicator that we have smart money playing out there. So we are heading to the smart money area. I do expect a pullback to the next big area high, which is where we have dynamic reactor, where we have the next big chunk of volume, which usually indicates retail money. All right. And then a possible next bottom somewhere around here to make a Wyckoff spring and finally keep moving up. So this is what I'm seeing on Litecoin. Again, if Bitcoin just decides to to fall back drunk, it will not be pretty for any of the altcoins. So be careful. Nonetheless, if we just take a look at LTC as a standalone crypto, it is not looking that bad. Remember, looking for that double bottom pattern, maybe with a bullish divergence, and then jumping in for that next possible entry for the upside. So turning it back to you guys.
Perfect. I'm going to jump over here to Pixel. We had a request for Pixel here, and then we're going to talk about, we just had more economic data come in at the top of the hour. We're going to look at that because it's actually pushing the markets around a little bit, creating some volatility. But taking a look at Pixel here, guys, so this is a newer token. So I'm going to teach you guys a little something here, little Piper Academy education session. This launched, on launch, it went up and just kind of went sideways. And then we talked about it getting in here, back, man, a couple of months ago, I want to say back in March, about a month ago, month and a half. February time period there, I said, look, we're creating this flag motion in here. We're not getting the massive crazy pullbacks that we typically see. Did it go up? Absolutely. It went up and topped out at about $1.03. But right now we are creating these lower levels here that you really can't count anything historically for support and resistance. So what I did is I pulled in a trend-based fib extension. We do this a lot of times on price discovery to the upside. It can be done on price discovery to the downside also. 3 points that I pulled: a high, a low, a lower high, and then that gives us this trend. Pulled off of those three levels, you can see we wicked perfectly here to the 1.618. That would be the phase one golden pocket. We did get a rejection here right around the dynamic reactor, and then that 1-to-1 got lost also. I would say that this is likely going to be coming back to test a double bottom here on this phase 1.618, coming in at 32.7 cents. If we take a look at what we do have here, though, we do have a peak seeker on the 4 hour, but it looks like we got this consolidation. There's a nice little range there against that ribbon, and we do have a nice consolidation down here at that 30% range. It can still drop quite a bit more, and that would give us that bounce there. If you're looking to get into a long on Pixel, take a look at 32.7 cents and then set that stop loss pretty tight there behind it. You should be okay. Not financial advice. That's what I would do with Pixel, though. Let's go ahead and jump over real quick now to talk about that news that just came in. Taking a look here, guys. Jolt's job openings came in, hit at 8.48 million. It was previously at 8.8 million. Consensus was that it would be at 8.7, forecast at 8.7. We came in below that. Let's see what they are talking about it on here. The number of job openings declined by 325,000 jobs from the previous month to 8.488 million for March 2024, reaching the lowest level since February 2021 and missing the market consensus by 8.69 million, or missing the consensus of 8.69 million, I should say. During the month, job openings decreased in construction, down 182,000, finance and insurance, down 158,000, but increased in state and local government education, up 68,000. That is a little concerning for me, and I'm going to tell you why. The only place that you saw growth was in jobs that are paid for by tax money. So how is that any good at all, guys? That is why we're seeing this pullback going on right now on the charts. That 8 o'clock timeline there, we started to get a pullback, erased all of the gains that we had made for the morning session, and now we are back on track for more downside. Again, guys, 52K Bitcoin. I've been calling 56K Bitcoin. We finally are in that range. Now I'm moving the goalpost 52K because I still think that there's more downside coming, especially when we have job numbers that look like that. TradeFly, what are your thoughts on this? Do you have anything else that you want to show the people on the markets right now on charts?
No, I've just kind of been scrolling through, looking at all of them, man, seeing what's moving, what's shaking, where they at. And there's just a very similar trend with a lot of the altcoins right now. They're pulling back to either the platinum pocket or the golden pocket. The trajectory is just different this time, though. It's not like before. We had those moves back to the golden pocket, but now it seems to be like this series of lower highs leading into it. And it seems like they're building these trends down and right. We're not getting these wicks or, hey, these sharp moves down and then a little bounce, because that original time that we went to the golden pocket for me was we were just cooling off or pulling back. We had such a sharp move to the upside so quickly. Now when you're coming back and we're saying, hey, let's try this again, that gives me a little bit of a pause here. In terms of the job numbers, yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it. You hit on everything, man. That's it's going to pull the market down. It's very logical. But yeah, I'm just scanning the charts, man, looking for some opportunities here. Maybe I did find one though. We'll take a quick look-see at that. This is a random one.
A quick gander, if you will.
Yeah, this is a random one. Okay. And do not invest in this. I'm just looking at it. I had all this up, and I've obviously done this a long time ago because I don't even remember looking at Zeta, to be honest with you. But this was an area, right? I always say, let it come to you. Let it come to you. Just let it. And sure enough, it did come down to that area. And now, look, the prime oscillator is working up and right. It could be an opportunity for Zeta, at least, to move back up. Maybe not so much into that range, but it looks like it might. And then retest that $1.63 area. Now, again, that's all contingent on the rest of the market, but yeah, just something I was perusing through, and I saw that it was positive. I like to see numbers that are strong when everything else is weak. So
nice. Yeah. Well, I do have one little final piece here for everybody. Janet Yellen, she's bullish. According to Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says people are generally better off despite recent price increases. That's what she says, that we are better off today than we were, before a year ago. Are you better off now? More better off now than you were 5 years ago was the question that Kabisi Letter asked, and 81.8% of people said no. Let's jump over here. We'll talk this out and then wrap it up for the day because we're almost at the bottom of the hour. TradeFly, are you better off today than you were 5 years ago?
I'm going to say no. I feel like I was able to save more money back then.
I
And
agree.
that's just, I would say I'm better in terms of I make more now, but I
You're
feel like
spending more,
then
so what does
it
it
was,
matter, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
OC,
unfortunately.
down here in Mexico, you better off today than you were 5 years ago?
Oh, I can tell you that I'm much better today than I was last night, but than 5 years ago, not at all. Uh, I mean, yeah, exactly what you mentioned. I'm earning more, but that is because everything just went up, right? So also, everything I need to make much more to just keep up with what I was doing. I mean, I was just yesterday talking about inflation in Mexico with the counterfeit tortillas, price also going up twice on the car industry here. So that is very, very alarming. So not at all. I don't feel like none of us in Mexico are doing better in terms of peso or dollar earning per dollar spent.
Yeah, I'm going to give a mixed message here. Yes and a no. No, I am not doing better than I was 5 years ago because I'm spending a lot more for the same stuff than I was back then. But because of proper planning, guys, proper planning prevents piss poor performance. The 6 P's of success.
Such a
I
military
planned
thing.
out the bear market perfectly, and I do have more money saved today. But I am spending a lot more money than I was 5 years ago for the same
Yeah,
exact quality of life.
that's
So
some savvy investing, though. Your scenario is so different than the typical American. Let's be honest.
proper planning,
It
5 year
doesn't have
plan.
to be.
And
Yeah,
that's why we do what we do here. Because if you
yeah,
plan things out, you have to plan that the government's going to F up the economy, and you have to plan accordingly. So I am doing better. I am doing better than what I was 5 years ago by savings, investment wise. I am doing worse than I was 5 years ago on quality of life for what I'm spending. Bang for the buck is down. So
yeah, for sure.
we had
What is
a
Jay?
member to magna cum laude from Mr. J said, can we have TA night and drink with OC? We should do that some weekend. We should do that some
Yes.
Friday
Yeah,
or Saturday. We'll do some TA and do a night of drinking with OC, and I like it. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Give something for the people on the way out. OC, tell them what they get if they hit the like button. Tell them what they win, OC.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure that you click that like button, because if you do, that will ensure that next time you go out and eat some chicken wings, they are full out chicken wings with 8 wings per chicken. So you can mutilate them happily and they still be a 2 chicken wing, a happy little bird still alive. So other than that, make sure you click that like button. Don't believe me? Go ahead and click and find out yourself.
Tradefly, what you
Bro,
got for
OC,
man?
I have no idea what you just said, man.
Fallout radiation,
My man said,
right? I
it
mean,
sounded
they
like you
grow
just said
more
eat a
chicken
chicken
wings
while it's
all
alive,
around.
man. Like, and
Oh,
and
good
this is
Lord.
how we end the show. I gotta go. I'm
All
out
right.
here.
All right. Guys, thanks for joining us today on Piper Academy. Just be careful. It's FOMC day and anything can happen. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, share this content out. Help us grow the algorithm and get this show out there. We're trying to put out the best morning content that you could possibly get for everything that you need to know. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, and the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. And on the way out, guys, shout out to Bedrun. And thanks for joining us live today, brother. We miss you.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after the wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Chart Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. Sound off to get rhythm, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it.
Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!